Before Prophet Muhammad, everyone was simply burying their daughters alive. There was no limit to polygamy, and daughters got no inheritance. Daughters got no inheritance. Okay. Okay. Muhammad gave all these rights and what?
I wonder how Khadija became rich. The women had no rights, but Khadija was running this business, and she headhunted Muhammad. She even had slaves, male slaves, working for her as employees. But anyways, and also the thing is, it's not just the Meccan society that's the measure. If Muhammad is the man for all time to come, then you can look at the Greeks, Romans, the societies before that gave way more rights and privileges to women in many regards than what we found Muhammad doing. And in fact, in retrospect, Muhammad might have given some rights to women, but he also limited their freedom in many ways that the earlier Arab women had not. Like, for example, their liberty to
divorce right. Yeah,
exactly. Divorce right, going to the mosque, being covered all the time in the desert heat, there's hadith, they would be covered like crows on their head or something. So it wasn't
And we're all missing something. I don't even go into these arguments about whether the situation was worse and it got better. It's like, okay, and then what? What happened since then?
Yeah,
it's like what about the first car, or the Ford Model T? It was one of the first cars that was like mass produced. Would you drive it today? No, it's a piece of shit, right? Like it was better than walking back then, but now we have cars. So now what is the improvement on that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's possible some things were better, but a lot of things are worse too.
There are hadith actually. Women have become emboldened where the women complain, or Omar complained that the women...
They were going to the mosque or something, right? Or they were like the women, they learned from the women of Medina to talk back or something.
Yes. And then he allowed to beat them or something.
Yeah.
I found it. There you go. Sahih by Al-Albani. So women have become emboldened towards their husbands. This is one. Anyway, there's another one where he goes into the women of Medina are complaining. They become too haughty, and it's a longer version of the hadith. But yeah, that's the whole thing where there was a whole scenario where Muhammad actually allowed women to be beaten because Omar just said, yeah, they're becoming a little too intense with us, so let us beat them. Muhammad said, okay. And then there was a counter complaint, and it's just like a weird, why would you even allow domestic violence, period, if you're the prophet of God? It shouldn't be getting.
He discouraged it, is what some people say. He discouraged it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll continue on the next slide.
All right. So, all right. So this one is, it says, isn't the witness of a woman equal to half of that of a man? The women said, yes. He said, this is because the deficiency of a woman's mind. Now, one thing I want to talk about here is the Arabic of it. There's a word that they use, I believe it's the nuqsani aqliha or naqisatul aql, something like that. What does that mean? What does the word aql entail?
Oh man, that's aql it means literally brain. You actually brought up a good point. The aql, I don't think that word means literally the brain, in the head. I don't know if they understood that, because there's this focus on the heart. Khatamallahu ala qulubihim, God sealed their hearts. They think that all the emotions and the thinking is happening down here. So aql, I don't know if it necessarily means the actual brain,
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing, right? When Muslims come up with the counter argument that, the Quran just says you have to stipulate it, it's only for those transactions that you write. Well, no, Muhammad takes it a step further, and he's explaining the tafsir. There's no better mufassir than the Prophet himself, and if he's saying that it's generally a deficiency of a woman's mind, it's kind of looks really bad.
Didn't Muhammad also do this, almost the same thing with when he just went up to someone and told him, do you know where the sun sets? And then he said, it sets in a muddy spring. So whenever apologists say, no, the verse means as if sets in a muddy spring and so on, the Prophet literally says it in a hadith, this is what I meant to say, right? So in this hadith, he's literally just saying, yes, it's because she's deficient in her mind. How do you get out of that one?
When you read the Quran, I think this always boggles people's mind. Why do you need two female witnesses or one male, right? And so, like you're saying, this explanation gives confidence to to the reasoning that Muhammad had some messed up ideas about women's intelligence, which is why he did this, why he said this, because otherwise you're just left scratching your head. Like, and scholars do give different reasons. Oh, women are busy with other things, but like women could be in situations where they do need to give witness too, right? And then now you're saying you need two of them. So like, where did this come from, right? And obviously everything in the Quran always comes down to what happened in Muhammad's life. So something happened in Muhammad's life that made him think this way. And this hadith, I mean, we don't know for sure, but this is one possible reason that actually makes sense because it jives with the Quran. It's not out of place. If the Quran is saying, two women or one man, well, we don't know why, but now we have a reason that actually makes sense from someone who thinks this way. You know what I'm saying? So if someone thinks that women are deficient of mind, well, therefore, a logical conclusion would be, well, you need two of them instead of one man. I mean, it's completely ass backwards because, we have women, like I was watching this Netflix documentary today about the human mind. In this episode, it was about, creating a prosthetic arm that can be connected to that someone that lost the arm can actually feel the sensation. And it was a woman. It was a woman doing this. She's in charge of the research team. So it's like women are not dumb. Women are not deficient in mind. Women are just as smart as men, right? And so this is absolutely ass backwards. Gondola, you trying to share something on the screen?
Yeah. So another thing that ties in exactly with that is this famous hadith which talks about women being created from the rib of Adam. And it's very, very frequently reported, says, act kindly toward women, for they were created from a rib, and the most crooked part of a rib is its top. If you attempt to straighten it, you will break it, and if you leave it alone, it will remain crooked. So act kindly towards them. So this whole idea circles back to the rib being crooked. So they're somehow just created in a way, or they're just naturally crooked. And it, for some weird reason, mentions the top part of the rib, which probably is alluding to the head or the brain or the aql, like you said. It's just messed up. Like, it's pretty explicit. Like, guy has no chill. So I think the one on the bottom is also quite telling. Like, what we need to keep in mind is like the holistic view of it's not just one line where he's attacking women at. He's attacking them from the heaven hell perspective. He's attacking them from the crooked bone, then the witness, then their inheritance, then them not being allowed to go. So as you kind of see that women are pretty cornered in terms of what they're allowed in Islam. But this also affirms, like the next one, Muhammad said, I looked into paradise and found that the majority of its dwellers were the poor people. And I looked into fire and found the majority of its dwellers were women. Now, this is quite an explicit statement where this guy's claiming that he went. And if not, like, I mean, he just shows you that it's this weird hatred towards women. Like, it's just a weird generalization. And that also is weird in a way where we see that is the gender ideology going to be constant till the end of times. Like, for example, the whole idea of, like male and female is kind of changing in a way where is Islam really meant for all times to come? Will it keep up with modern sexuality when machines join in our body and whatnot? That's just another aspect to it.
I was just going to say, he mentions poor people, right, being the dwellers of heaven. And then hell is full of women. Like, are all those women rich? Or
that's a good question.
That's what I want to understand. Are they the 1% and simultaneously like the majority of hell?
Well, maybe that's why he was trying to reduce their inheritance too. I'm just kidding. Or maybe because
it's for their own good, because poor people go to heaven.
Maybe because like Muhammad was married to Khadija and she was the leader in the house, with all the finances and the trade and everything. He, after that, was kind of, when she died, he was traumatized or something, and he got scarred in a way that he just went all out. Like, no more women in business, no more this and that.
Don't you feel like Muhammad is giving incel vibes here? Like his insecurity with women, his total control. I mean, yesterday I did a live stream where I was responding to this red pill guy, Andrew Tate, and how it's bizarre, as famous and attractive and wealthy as he is, he is so insecure about women. And he kept saying, oh, these women are cheating on us nowadays. And this is always about the women's sexuality. and this is exactly, and he was praising Islam, and this is exactly what Islam is all about: controlling women's sexuality. It's almost like Muhammad had like some big insecurities about sexuality, because no one's allowed to see his wives. His wives have to stay behind a curtain. Most of them are going to hell. It's like, damn, like, was Muhammad the first incel? I mean, obviously he wasn't an incel. He had kids and everything.
Well, but he is, yes. No, you're absolutely right. Like, remember the hadith about how many women sleeping with all of his wives in one night with one ghusl?
Yes.
Who says that? Like, how did that come to light?